Hey guys, my name is Chonger. A few months ago, I attempted the Project 50 challenge. So in this video, I wanted to recap my experience, share the benefits of doing it, tell you the different rules, and I also want to give you some tips on the best ways that you can succeed doing this challenge. Let me share the outcomes of doing this challenge so that way you can consider if it's worth doing yourself. So first, I was able to process my thoughts and emotions better, which allowed me to have healthier relationships with myself and people around me. This was facilitated by the daily journaling. I started my own bookkeeping company, and I have a newfound goal of wanting to be a professional golfer, so I'm going to be working towards that. So if that intrigues you, let's break down the rules. There's 7 in total, all pretty straightforward, but I'm going to be sharing with you my tips on the best way to be able to complete this challenge, because there are going to be some times when you feel like, I don't really want to do this. Don't worry, that is perfectly normal, but you just have to persevere, and I'm going to make this as easy as possible for you guys. Rule number 1, waking up before 8 a.m. For me, I thought this was going to be the hardest part of the challenge just because I have trouble sleeping at night. So I usually don't wake up in the morning, or if I do, I wake up in the middle of the night like 5, 6 a.m. And then by the time I get back to sleep, I don't really want to be waking up prior to 8 a.m. But after the first few days of forcing myself to wake up before 8 a.m., I noticed that I was just started to get more tired later at night, and I was able to fall asleep a lot faster. And I noticed just the quality of sleep just from me falling asleep at 10:30 versus like 11:30 or 12, my sleep quality seems so much better. So that just further enabled me to be able to wake up earlier. So it's just a nice cycle, but you have to force yourself the first few days to try to break that cycle. Some tips to make yourself sleep better at night is to create a nighttime routine. I think the journaling is good to do before bed because you're able to get all your thoughts down, you're able to plan for the next day, so you're not going to be thinking about this when you're going to bed. Your mind will just be more relaxed. And doing the reading before bed just is a way to calm down. You're not looking at your phone, the blue light's not stimulating your mind, so it's just also a good way to kind of ease into that bedtime routine. Rule number 2 is do your morning routine without distractions. So my morning routine was wake up, drink some water, wash my face, brush my teeth, and edit my short from the previous day. So having a morning routine is great because it just sets you up for success. You're able to get some early wins out of the way, and it just makes you feel more accomplished, and it just gets you going on the right foot. Rule 3, exercise for at least 1 hour per day. So for me, my physical activity came from going to the gym 3 times a week. On the off days, I'd be stretching, I'd be doing daily walks. Sometimes I'd be playing sports like tennis or golf. And golf is good because it kills 2 birds with 1 stone, because that was actually the skill that I was working towards. I think a tip to keep you guys exercising daily, especially if you've never exercised before, is to seek some preventative care, either like massage or physio or chiro, doing that like once a month, once every 2 months. Especially if you've never done anything before, you're going to be using muscles that you haven't used, and they could get tired, they could get tight. You might not want to be exercising the next day, but yeah, getting some treatment, working through that, I think is going to set you up for success, so that way you do want to go and exercise and you don't really have any excuses. Or I think at least investing in a massage gun, like a Theragun, that can work wonders as well too. Rule 4, reading 10 pages per day. So in this challenge, I read a few books, but I think the most impactful one was the Atomic Habits book. I think the teachings from that book go nicely with doing this challenge, as the whole book's premise is trying to create better habits for yourself and the best way to succeed. And with this challenge, as a lifestyle challenge, you're trying to form better habits, so the two go hand in hand. I'll be sharing some of my findings at the end, just giving you some more useful tips in how to think about completing this challenge. Rule number 5, dedicate 1 hour towards a new skill. So when I first started this challenge, my skill was poker, but that soon changed to learning how to golf. And after reading Atomic Habits and The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck, I got inspired and I made that lofty goal of wanting to be a professional golfer. I might have gotten too dreamy with that goal, but if your goals don't scare you, then I don't think you're dreaming big enough. However, before I even think of being a professional golfer, I do realize there is a lot of other hurdles to get into the way. The first thing I need to do is become a scratch golfer, and obviously later I need to be even better than that. But the first thing is I need to be a scratch golfer. So I will be documenting my process of trying to get to a scratch golfer on this channel, and I'll be making a more detailed plan later on, so stay tuned for that. Rule number 6, follow a healthy diet. For me, this was the hardest part because I also have the goal of wanting to gain weight. It's just so much harder to eat healthy food and then also gain weight because you have to eat more volume to get the same amount of calories as like a Big Mac meal. Like, you know, if you're eating chicken breast, you're gonna have to eat 2 or 3 to get the same equivalent as, you know, that burger and fries and soft drink. And also for me, I'm a picky eater in the sense of I don't like eating the same thing. I don't really like leftovers. I'm also a visual eater. It not only has to taste good, but also has to look good. It has to have some good texture. It just can't be all mush. Yeah, I'm pretty picky in that sense. That was definitely why it was the hardest part of the challenge for me. And also too, you know, I can only eat chicken breast so much. So for me to get healthy foods and also get some variety into my diet, I would recommend a meal plan kit like Fresh Prep, HelloFresh, Good Food, any one of those. I'll leave my referral code down below if you guys are interested to check that out. But for picky eaters like me, I think that is definitely the way to go. And in this challenge, especially for the healthy diet, a lot of people say don't drink alcohol. And going into this challenge, I thought that would also be hard because going to parties, I would think like, you know, alcohol is something that you need. It's almost like a social crutch. But I soon realized that it's all just in the mind. You don't actually need alcohol to have fun. And as a matter of fact, I felt more present in the current situations not needing alcohol. I felt so much better not being hungover too. Rule number 7, track your progress in a journal. I also thought that this would be pretty hard just because I'm not the most expressive person, and when I write things out, I'm pretty straight to the point. I don't really elaborate on things, so as far as me journaling, I didn't really think I had much to write about. As you start writing, you actually have more than you think. You can write about your day, future plans, able to just process your thoughts and emotions, and for me, someone who just couldn't really think about things just without writing things down actually, having a journal was a nice way for me to go throughout the day and just reflect on my current life. Not only that, but it just helped me sleep better because I was able to get everything down on the paper. I wouldn't be thinking about things when I go to sleep. So all in all, journaling is something that I think has benefited me. To be honest, after that challenge, I kind of stopped, but that's one thing I actually want to be doing again. All right, so that is the challenge. Maybe you thought it's burdensome, maybe you didn't, but if you did think that it was quite difficult, I'm here to offer some tips for success. So first, I think you have to get mentally prepared for this. You have to get your mind in the right place. You have to realize that this does involve some sacrifice of some sort, and if it were easy, everyone would be doing it. Don't be hard on yourself if you're lacking motivation on a certain day. It's all about creating new habits, and you've probably gone most of your life living a certain way, so it does take time to break that habit. And for more details on how to break different habits and making habit change easier, I definitely would recommend reading the Atomic Habits book. But I think one tip that I will share from that book about starting new habits is you should make your environment easier to complete your goal. So for instance, if you have trouble exercising, you should take your workout clothes and put them out so that way they're easily accessible, so you're more likely to put them on, put on your shoes, get out the door, and start exercising. And I touched on this earlier, but the meal prep services are a great way to get healthy food into you if you don't have time grocery shopping. So that way you're not walking by McDonald's or something like that getting some fast food. You already know you have food in the fridge. There's simple instructions to follow, and it just makes healthy meal prep a lot easier. Sleep is important, so do things to help you sleep better, because if you're more well rested, you'll be more productive the next day. So I'd recommend getting a nighttime routine, potentially investing in some sleep tracking devices, and limiting caffeine usage, which might be hard at first, especially if you're not used to getting up earlier in the mornings. Just try and hold off on the coffee, especially after like 2 or 3 p.m. and then it'll help you be able to go to sleep easier at night. And the last thing is keep in the back of your mind, Doing something at half effort is better than not doing it at all. Let's be honest, we're all human. We're not going to be able to show up 100% of the time, but just not doing that certain task will make you lose momentum. So it's better just to show up, do it the best of your ability, and also form a new habit of persevering and doing something that might not be the most comfortable, but getting used to getting things done when you don't want to, I think is a useful trait to have. My next steps, I'm going to be attempting Project 50 again, so feel free to follow along on my journey. I also have the Road to Scratch on my channel as well. I highly recommend doing this challenge. I felt way more productive while I was doing it, and after doing the challenge, I felt I started to slip up a bit. So I feel like attempting the Project 50 challenge is a good way to kickstart my discipline, especially when I have that goal of becoming a scratch golfer by the end of the year. So anyways, if you enjoyed the video, smash that like button, drop a comment, subscribe if you aren't already, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching. Peace.